Hello, good morning. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Laura from Tenacious Taurus Tarot, and this is going to be the general daily collective message for Friday. Keep in mind, timing and energy is still fluid, and so we've got a full moon in Capricorn playing out today, and so we've got Cancer and Capricorn energies in an opposition. This full moon is at 1 degree. This is the first full moon in Capricorn playing out over the coming month. We will have a second full moon in Capricorn next month at 29 degrees, and so there is a major completion when it comes to the Pluto and Capricorn cycle. So if you look back to 2008, where were you at in your life back around 2008 when Pluto moved into Capricorn? And so for me, my parents were officially divorced back then. My mom was remarrying, was engaged to be remarried. She actually got married on the 8/8 Lionsgate portal. I believe it was 2009. I was 29 going through my Saturn return, my first Saturn return. And so for me, it's like the completion of that Saturn return. It's like the longest Saturn return I have ever gone through is really what it feels like. So for me, while Pluto transited through Capricorn, the last 14, 16 years has been upheaval within my community, within my social groups. I have an 11th house in Capricorn, and so my 5th house has also taken a hit, my 5th house in Cancer. And so wherever you have this oppositional energy in your own birth chart is likely where these lessons, these karmic lessons are reaching completion. And so we've got 2 full moon portal gateways when it comes to completing this Pluto and Capricorn cycle. And so there's also a major completion connected to the masculine collective as a whole, or the lack thereof true masculinity within the collective. True divine masculine energy is definitely lacking within society and within society structures. And so this full moon is really applying to us at a global scale when it comes to revisiting childhood themes, childhood patterns connected to fatherhood, father wounds, mother wounds, the stories we keep telling ourselves about who we are, and the limitations we keep placing on ourselves when it comes to our gifts and our capabilities, and how we can move forward into adulthood once and for all. And so I know for me, it feels like that umbilical cord never fully gets cut. Like, when can I be a full-fledged grown-up here, right? I'm going to be 45 next year, so I'm 44 this year, so I'm going through a master year this year. And so this full moon, Cancer versus Capricorn, it's going to highlight the tension of these polarities, depending on how these are going to affect you. Well, if you'd like to book a personal reading or a transit chart reading, I'd love to get that booked in for you, because this would be the perfect opportunity in between these full moons to dig a little bit deeper, because we're going to have a new moon in between these full moon portals in Cancer, and Cancer is connected to the home. It is connected to the mother and the great mother. And so right now we have to face this opposition. We have to face this opposition when it comes to the Cancer Capricorn dynamic. And so ultimately the blending or the alchemy of these energies is to reach a common goal, maybe with another person, or just maybe in your own individual journey. And so Cancer, right, the home. Capricorn is the work we put out there. It represents the father energy. Cancer is what's vulnerable, and Capricorn is the tough facade. It really is just a tough facade, because on the flip side, Capricorn can be a big softie. And so Cancer is the comfort zone. It is the comfort zone of our mommy, right? Like, I want my mommy when things go bad, right? Who doesn't want their mommy when life goes bad? And so the Capricorn energy is saying, hey, it's time to branch out. It's time to branch out from the family. And so I just feel right now there's like a split. And so for me, I'm closing out a big cycle. When I split with my ex, my karmic, back in 2009, like for good, and we went back and forth for years in a very toxic trauma bonded cycle from the very get-go, from the very beginning. Like, that relationship should have ended from the very start, and it like was a dragged on process of running and chasing and begging and running, and really I'm glad that that cycle is coming to completion. And so we had to split, right? Because we had different aspirations. We were just toxic together. Like that Britney Spears song, Toxic. We were just toxic for one another. We were integrating the Taurus and Scorpio polarity. Yeah, he's a Scorpio sun and I'm a Taurus sun. And so we went through a hell and back in that relationship. Well, we didn't actually come back. We kind of just went to hell. And so there's this energy of like exposing, right? And so I know the last 8 years, about 8 years or so since this person's been in my life, I have faced a lot of ugly trials, a lot of challenges. And so it's like, I don't know, at one point I thought we were best friends, and it's like all of a sudden we turned against each other. And he actually has a Capricorn woman in his life. And I really do wish that man happiness, but he's a Cancer moon, and so there might be a big opposition there. But anyway, I just feel like at one point in time we became enemies, right? And so there's something completing with that, I feel. I was also on this journey, awakened on this journey by a Cancer man. And so something about that 5th house Cancer, I feel, is really shifting for me throughout this portal. Like, this is like a huge completion for me. And it all does go back to my parents' divorce and my mother remarrying. And I just got to say, my stepfather is an amazing man, and it took me many years to appreciate the relationship that my mother and him share, and the relationship that he brings forward into my life with my children. And so this full moon, I think, might feel like an ugly trial or drudging up the past when it comes to these types of karmic relationships, of third party, of divorces, of, you know, not completing the cycle before moving into another relationship. And so for me, I've been loyal to the path. We actually completely went our separate ways on the 11/11 portal in 2019, and it's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of challenging, really just a lot of him running from accountability, and me kind of sitting here holding the bag and doing this mostly solo for the last several years. And so nobody wins in this situation. When we're in an opposition, there is no winner. It's only losers, right? And so oppositions really show us what the lose-lose situation is, and nobody wins. And so we can't dismiss the lesson, and that's kind of what he's done when it comes to the integration of the Taurus and Scorpio. You can't just dismiss the lesson or dismiss the other person and think that this isn't going to come back to haunt you, right? And so it isn't like a winner takes all situation. This isn't how life works. And so how do we create that equality connected to the mother and the father energy is really what I feel is coming through. Mother-father wounds, adjusting our understanding of maybe where the other person is coming from their side, or maybe the other person is just never going to see where you are coming from. And so we are constantly integrating the polarities of all of the zodiac energies within our birth chart. 99.9% of the time, you will have all of these energies within your housing that need to be integrated. And ultimately, the planets will traverse through all of your housing when it comes to these energies. And so we do have to put in a conscious effort to basically come into union or marry the polarity of these energies. And that is what ultimate union would be. The integration of the polarities, what seems irreconcilable sometimes, it takes conscious effort to reconcile. And so we are always going to have contrasting aspects show up in our lives. We're always going to have new truths, new discoveries that we have to ground, that we have to integrate. We also have to realize, I feel, where we compromise our values and where we abandon our truth, because to abandon your children, to abandon your family, really is not what we came here for, right? And so generally, I feel this is a big energy for evolving the masculine collective into the highest version of what true masculinity represents throughout this portal, or at least I'm praying and I'm hoping for that. And so the divine feminine also is capable of embodying both the inner feminine and the inner masculine. And so inevitably we have to transform our lives from the inside out. And so right now I feel we're exploring both the Cancerian and the Capricornian side of these energies. We both have to know how to take action in our lives and to take charge as a masculine. And we also have to learn how to nurture ourselves with the Cancerian aspects of the inner feminine. And it's so interesting because life only begins when these two energies come into collision. And on my way to my cousin's graduation out of town a couple of nights ago, I was probably less than 20 feet away from like a T-bone collision where these cars like flew up into the air. I was like, what is that? And so I think there's like a collision coming, and maybe it's a collision of beliefs. Maybe it's contrasting entities. And you know, the contrast is not the enemy. It's there to shine a light on what it is you need to integrate so you can create that balance. And so this moon energy is asking us to find that delicate balance between these two polarities. And so right now I feel there's like this gravitational pull when it comes to the Cancerian aspects playing out, because Cancer is in perpetual regeneration. I feel the feminine is always in perpetual regeneration, personal growth and adaptation. And now it's time for the masculine collective to go through this adaptation and personal growth cycle. And so it's like this force coming through, this very strong earthly force. And if you follow the Schumann resonance, like, oh my God, have you been following the Schumann resonance? Like this energy is loud. And those that are in tune with their empathic spiritual bodies, we are feeling this. And so there might be forces that make life seem impossible over the weekend with these opposing energies. But really, until we go through this process, we will never, ever become fulfilled as individuals. And so I know the further along the journey I get, the more I integrate the polarities within my own lessons, the easier it gets. And so right now we're reconciling like our core identity when it comes to our origins. And that's what the awakening journey is. It is an awakening to your true divine origins, your cosmic origins, your ancestor origins, and how you aspire to take all of those lessons and then integrate that to become your most individual self. And so I've done a lot of self-study over the years. And before this journey, I ran a home daycare. I did not touch a tarot card in my life prior to this awakening journey. And so I really stepped outside that box, and it was loud, right? And so it was shocking for a lot of my family. And so I journeyed far away from a lot of my family members, and slowly they're all kind of trickling back in. Family is really important to me. The many branches of the family tree that I have. And so when we choose to remain stuck, when we choose to remain stagnant, then we're basically avoiding change and we're avoiding truth. And so when we stand in the light of truth, it can be daunting because not everybody is ready for that light of truth. But ultimately, that's the only way to break free from any traps, like, or the matrix or any entrapped situations. It is about speaking that truth. And so until we speak our truth, we're going to be doomed to repeat the mistakes of our parents. And so I think that is really what's coming up. There's a lot of feelings of vulnerability connected to maybe where we've not been fully able to support ourselves, or we've been dependent on our parents. And then there's a lesson of repeating the mistakes of our family history and the generational or the transgenerational patterns that get handed down throughout the womb of the feminine, the womb of the mother and the grandmother and the great-grandmother, and how this seems to keep repeating and reminding us of what we came here to do. And there's usually one soul that goes through the awakening and feels all of the trauma of the family to clear it. And so this is not an easy process to be shown these deep spiritual truths. It is a process of death. It is a grueling process death, but we can't avoid this change if we are to aspire to move towards new earth and new goals for the collective, right? And so a lot of us, we go to work, we dress up, we dress fancy, we buy a fancy car, we listen to all kinds of spiritual content, aspirational music, we try to hang out with successful people, we try to emulate this. But we do need to detach from an outcome, right? And we need to boss up on our own. And so all of these material things really don't mean anything if we are connected to the wrong social groups or the wrong aspirations. And so right now, I think we are growing and evolving. I do feel there might be some kind of financial crash coming as we move into the age of Aquarius, because there was a banking crash back in 2008 when this shift took place. But in order to really grow and evolve, we do have to detach from our family. And so at the beginning of my journey, I cut ties with everybody. I needed to be that hermit. I needed to be the high priestess and be the hermit and integrate the Virgo Pisces. I think that was the very first lesson that I was asked to integrate as I awakened to the arrival of all of this truth. And so truth is only heard in the silence too. And so I had to disconnect from everything prior to my awakening, family, friends alike. And there's no bitterness connected to the past anymore. We oftentimes have to detach from certain foods. Like I really no longer enjoyed alcohol, or, a lot of us are here to purge addictions. And that's, my ex and I, we were toxic together. We partied way too hard. We were very toxic together. And so we have to engage in things that remove us from the past, right? And so you might, change your taste in food. And so all of this is really, I think, coming up, right? And so if you look back to when you were a teenager, and so we go through all of these integration of lessons. You think as a teenager, I know like my teenage daughter, she likes to hide in her room all the time. And to be a teenager is a very alienating process too. And so I know there's something very significant as well going on with the Capricorn North Node Collective and the Cancer North Node Collective right now as well. My daughter is a Capricorn North Node. And so there's like a 2-year cycle there of kids around my daughter's age that have been going through a significant rebellious rejection, Saturnian energy entering into adulthood. And they've been going through this awakening process because a lot of those kids in that generation are going to be these new earth leaders one day. And so it's a very difficult process to sever the umbilical cord, right? To sever the identity formation of the family process. And so in order for us to fully become somebody else, we do have to separate from the familial identities. And so I feel we are at the gateway cross of Christ consciousness, our understanding of our true identity as a soul in a human body, in a human existence. And so we are here to preserve our family's legacy as well as transcend all of the family trauma, the family curses, so to speak. And so this is really carving our path, I think, for New Earth. I think we're shifting our identity, or our ego identity, especially if you have major Cancer Capricorn placements, especially if you have major like Aries Libra. So we are dealing with a lot of cardinal energies being activated. So we have to develop our outward identity, I feel, is really what's coming through. So I feel if you're like Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, Libra, rising, any of those rising signs, I think there is something being brought to the forefront when it comes to your conscious ego identity and where you have synthesized a false identity and how you need to kind of ascend that through the opposite point. So there's going to be a lot of shadow projected traits, I think, coming through over the energies this weekend. And so if we're projecting certain traits, that means we're lacking another part of that opposite polarity. And so it's just this highlighted energy of what is missing, because something is missing, right? As we grow older, I think we get more connected with the roots, with the earth, and with this need to explore, who am I? What am I doing here? And so as we further progress along the ascension journey too, the younger generations will awaken sooner. And so right now we go through this like midlife crisis, I guess they call it, usually around late 30s, early 40s. And so the collective will start to awaken sooner. They're like, it's going to be not a midlife crisis, because I think we're going to start to live longer lives as we ascend into these crystalline bodies. But right now I feel the energy is asking us to solidify some type of family structure connected to the home. Connected to the home, understanding the toxic dynamics that have shaped us, the healthy dynamics that have shaped us, because our ancestors gave us more than wounds. They did give us love. They did give us gifts. And so I think I'm about to explore a deeper layer with astrology with my membership side of the channel and with the group. And so I think if you're struggling right now, the energies are going to be difficult, right? We've also got this Lilith opposing Neptune energy, which is like asking us to confront what we've been unwilling to confront. And so you think Lilith and Virgo, deep shadow integration, shadow introspection. Neptune is asking us to confront any illusions. And so Saturn is going to go retrograde at the end of the month. Neptune is going to be going retrograde. So the planet of illusions is asking us to face our shadow self when it comes to where we create fantasies and illusions in our life, where we need to confront what needs to be stripped away when it comes to falsehoods, in order to understand what we need to release when it comes to unconscious patterns connected to ancestors. And so like we're in these deep-seated understanding of patterns, behaviors, releasing them. And so we got to go into this inner transformation in order to explore these deep spiritual truths. So just make sure you're being honest right now. I do think the energy is a little confusing. I think there's going to be a lot of disappointment in relationships that need to end, where there's been like, if you've been holding on and clinging for dear life and trying to make something work, and it's just this energy of, we can't just keep only seeing the best in people, right? That is going to really increase this chance of massive hurt and massive disillusionment. Don't over idealize any relationships. Don't be over gullible, because that's going to lead to loss. And there's possible exposure, full moons expose stuff of scandal and slander and all of that stuff. So do not play into any deceptions. In order to be counterproductive, we need to not play into deception. So just be honest with yourself. Be honest with others. Be above board. It's not that hard to be honest. I could never understand why people can't be honest. And so if you are a person that likes to be like a predator on others, I think get ready for some karma, because you can't keep exploiting people. Hypochondria might be another thing, I feel. These energies are tough. And so all personal relationships that are rooted in dishonesty or deception, I think secrets are going to be harder and harder to conceal. And so things are coming undone. Things are coming unraveled. Things are being uncovered. And so right now there's this ethereal energy, I think, saying, hey, be ready for these energies to come in and feel like a solar eclipse. I think the energies are going to feel like a solar eclipse. They're going to feel like, hey, you can't keep lowering your standards is another message, right? And so the differences between these two energies or between partners is definitely going to be highlighted, I think, over the coming days. So if you are wanting more love, wanting more affection, don't go begging somebody to give that to you. Know your worth and know your value. And so I think have a healthy view on love, because when you release this expectation of romantic love, it really is so much easier to release any underlying negative feelings of possessiveness, jealousy, insecurities. And so there's a lot of people in these relationships, and a lot of them are bored, they're jealous, they're possessive. It's not a fulfilling relationship. It's not based on genuine mutual love. So just don't be willing to lower your standards. Be willing to spend some time alone if you need to. Don't be afraid to be alone, and don't stay connected to somebody just because you're afraid to be alone. And don't stay connected in shallow, unfulfilling relationships, because unrequited love is a very high price to pay, and you can waste years of your life And you can't call in that right close companion or relationship if you're in a relationship with the wrong one. And so if your emotional needs are not being met or not being fulfilled, I think that is something that you need to really look at this weekend in this full moon cycle, because self-acceptance and self-love is more important than finding a soulmate. So until you actually reach a certain level of self-acceptance and self-love, good luck finding a true soulmate entering your life. You're going to keep repeating that same lesson connected to your parents. And so sometimes affections aren't returned. And then that is there to show you how to learn to love yourself. And so any tension caused by these oppositions, I think, is really going to affect relationships where there's a lack of self-worth on both ends. And this also does create financial pressure too. When we don't have enough, if we don't have enough affection, if we don't have enough self-worth, then we never have enough money for what we want either. And so get ready to face some deep-seated issues this weekend. We're going to jump in with some cards. Give me a second, and I'm going to go pick out some decks. All right, let's get into it, guys. Before jumping in with the cards, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like the video, comment on the video, share the video, especially if you're resonating with the messages. It helps grow the channel. It's just a nice, free, easy way to show me some support, show me some love. But I think we're going to dig in today with the Chakra Insight Oracle cards. I feel there's going to be a lot of chakra integration when it comes to certain lessons as well. Look at, there's that on the bottom of the deck, self-expression. So throat chakra, and I did feel that, actually, I forgot to mention that. I felt like such intense, like anxiety almost kind of stuck right here in between the higher heart and the throat. And so somebody here needs to assert themselves, find their self-expression towards individuality. I think there might be somebody that is needing to listen to their inner voice. And this is connected to family. And so I actually saw a blue jay too the other day, which is probably the most protective bird. And so belonging, community, culture, tribe, family, that's important, right? So family is important to all of us, and it does all come back to family. And I remember at the beginning of the awakening, I think it's like that Fast and the Furious song, When I See You Again, I think. That song used to come up a lot when it comes to family, and I always thought that was like a sign from my grandmother. But I do feel like an important decision about a family is coming up here, and hold that vision, right? The third eye. So there could be a third eye activation. Somebody might be seeing things from a fresh perspective for the first time, maybe in a long time. Let's get a few of these out and let's see what needs to come through for some chakra insight into these energies, visualization. So crown, third eye, so imagination, focus, experience, manifestation. There could be a crown chakra opening. Somebody could be attuning to these new higher frequencies. This full moon, I feel, is bringing in truth. When it comes to this awakening experience, presence, be present in your current reality. I do feel there's something here you need to pay attention to. I do feel like a Page of Cups energy. This is about deep emotional exploration into childhood patterns, into the past for sure. This could be like soul recognition, soul retrieval coming through, self-esteem. 21. So I feel divine feminine energy with that. I always feel Empress energy connected to the world, connected to 21. And so confidence, self-love, self-worth, pride. And so somebody here, I think, is seeing something from a new perspective. Seeing things from truth, from the viewpoint of truth, with newfound knowledge, with clarity. So solar plexus energy is saying, take charge. Something about this Lion's Gate. This Lion's Gate is when somebody here is going to be taking action towards maybe an Empress. So right now, I think there's just an awareness, an awakening, an opening of some truth before taking action, before moving towards a newfound motivation. Discipline is needed. So third eye, seeing. And so this is the opening of a month-long portal that will complete at that second full moon. And so action, I think, is paused for the time being as somebody really takes a look at their beliefs, their insecurities, their limitations. And this might be connected to physical health. self-expression. I know I've really been struggling with body image and self-worth image lately, and that's not usually like me. And so is your vitality being sapped? Do you have a healthy body image? Are you in balance? Because we have to put low self-worth issues behind us, and this might require putting some personal boundaries in place. And so somebody here has a choice. I do feel there is a tower moment coming through this full moon when it comes to authenticity, empowerment, personal boundaries. I feel like a harvest, like somebody's about to reap a harvest, and somebody knows. Somebody knows. So this Lionsgate portal is huge for those on the path, those that have been called. 19. I feel there's somebody here going through some type of ego death. A true lion leader intuitively knows when it's time to act. So somebody's really needing to trust their gut instincts when it comes to taking action. Pay attention to your dreams. The universe is bringing messages, signs, and symbols and guidance through in dream space. So let's go a little bit further with the angel tarot cards today. I wasn't sure where I was going to take this at first, because at first I grabbed the tea leaf deck and the shadow and light, and I could have went down a darker reading path, but the universe is like, no, we can still get to the bottom of the truth and keep it in the light, right? We can keep it in the light. So we've got the wheel with the 5 of earth, and so this is a fated time. Full moons are fated, they're destined. This is a time of positive change, although it probably is going to come in very chaotic, very challenging, but somebody here needs to move forward very suddenly, very quickly from some type of 5 of Pentacles situation. So this is also like the childhood abandonment, the fear of abandonment, the fear of rejection wound coming up, the wisdom to accept the wound, the wisdom to accept help from others. This is also like cutting that umbilical cord, like, hey, am I going to be a full-fledged adult yet? So release fears surrounding money. There could be a fated turn of fortune, and I feel like fortune is on your side. What you have visualized is coming into fruition. So movement is here. I feel a feminine energy coming through that has really persevered through the awakening process. I feel somebody here that has really found the discipline to overcome any self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues, self-love and self-worth. Really does take a healthy sense of pride and ego. So somebody, I feel, has made a wish, maybe has peered into the future, has a lot of esoteric knowledge and truth that they bring forward, and something is being manifested out of some sort of visualization. Yeah, and somebody's all done looking back on the missed out opportunities. So we got 2 jumpers, we got the wheel, and so the second you leave behind an opportunity that maybe you thought was a missed opportunity of poor timing, it's time to open up your eyes. It's time to open up your eyes to some new possibilities. So I think Archangel Michael is cutting away the dead branches. Okay, 6 of Cups in reverse is done. It's over. Let go of an unrequited love situation. Yes, we all have memories. We all have history with somebody. I have history with quite a few men, and we all have history when it comes to childhood. And so there are issues regarding childhood patterns here that has really blocked somebody's romantic life. And so this is a final release of the past memories is what it feels like. Yep. And then we got a Queen of Air, and she's going towards a new experience. I do feel a divine feminine here that is objective, that is making a decision. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy to clear away something here that is no longer serving her. Whether it's a pattern, a person, a relationship. We got somebody here that is realistic. I think she's very experienced within relationships, probably single. The Queen of Swords is usually single, usually divorced. And we get the 3 of Air and going towards the power of creativity. We all have the power to create our world. Our words do create worlds. And so we've got a public speaker here, I think, that has the power to create anything that she wants. Maybe coming into recognition, maybe coming in to receive something. This person is a team player. And I feel she also exposes confusion. We could also have a feminine here that might have to make a very complex decision. She might have a lot of opportunities being presented. And so it's time to stop procrastinating. It's time to get to work. definitely somebody here that has put in a lot of hard work and discipline when it comes to maybe sharing her skills, sharing her gifts. The Queen of Air, she speaks, right? It's an air sign. And so somebody here, I feel, knows a lot about an esoteric topic or something of the sort, and there's going to be unexpected communication coming. I think get ready to receive communication. Something connected to a past injustice, something that wasn't fair. Maybe there was an unjust decision, or somebody didn't treat you fairly in the past, and you come from a place of doing what you know is right. And that's not saying that you're better than anybody. But I do feel we've got a queen that stood up for her beliefs, stood up for what is right. And I think that there's something good coming back to her because it's time. So the Seven of Earth is saying, get ready to plant a seed. Somebody has done a lot of work. And really, I feel is coming into some type of recognition for some high quality work. So somebody planted a seed, and they planted a seed very well. And I think if there's been like a temporary pause, there might be a temporary pause in action. There might be a temporary pause in action until the next full moon. And so release unnecessary worry. You are in like a 4-week healing portal. That's what it feels like. And as I look up at the clock, it was at 35:11. 9 Wands, justice. You are in a 4-week healing portal. Take the time to rest. Take a vacation. I'm going on vacation. I'm going on vacation. Take a rest. Allow more time before that final clearing or decision. But I do feel right now we are in a major healing portal. So I think this full moon too might be making a lot of people sentimental. This is the energy of going back, wanting to go back to an ex. But I think this phase, this situation, it's over. It's over. There is like somebody here that has moved on, has gone through a spiritual transformation. It feels like this queen. And so like she wants to move on from the past. And I think this is exactly when the past probably will show up on the doorstep. But I do feel there's a queen here, a divine feminine, I'm going to say, with that 21 energy that is coming into a time of a lot of positive changes and is moving forward very quickly with a lot of good fortune, maybe a lot of good things, a lot of good opportunities coming forward. And somebody wants to come back. They don't want this phase to end, but I think the phase is already over. I think there was already an ending, maybe 7 years ago. I don't know, but I think somebody might be coming in as some type, like with some type of confession, but this is part of their spiritual growth to create some type of balance. I feel there's a feminine here receiving a gift of money from the universe, and I think that's the truth. And I think there's a feminine here that was in an illusion of feeling trapped for a long time, that lacked a lot of confidence and lacked a lot of self-love and self-worth and self-esteem, and maybe was afraid to take action. But I feel no longer afraid, and so there's a new idea that maybe can make you a lot of money, a new inspirational idea. There's somebody exposing the truth of a situation, and I think this has been a very challenging new beginning for this feminine when it comes to a whole new phase of her life. And so I think get ready for some people coming in with a confession. I think there's more that meets the eye here, but I feel we're going into like a 4-week portal of deep-seated healing. And so maybe there will be some confessions coming in here. Maybe you're going to need to take a break, and maybe you're going to need to take the next 4 weeks to really think about what is being said, what this person has to say. I do feel there's a lot of reminiscing going on for sure. What is the hidden secret here with this Eight of Cups reversed, Death reversed? We got a lot of water. So there's going to be a lot of emotions, but I feel like the groundedness of the earth and the air kind of balances it out. There's a feminine here, very grounded. She's not overly emotional. She knows there's a brand new beginning in love here. She's put in the work. She's healed. She is expecting unexpected communication, I think. She knows it's coming. So what is this secret? What is the heart's hidden secret here when it comes to this great return? I do think somebody is coming in saying, hey, maybe it was poor timing. Somebody wants to try again. There is somebody coming in here and wants to try again if you are resonating as this Queen of Air. So take your time to decide. You don't have to decide. Somebody's coming in, I think, with truth I think the clarity, I think they're coming in with honest intentions. And this is their karma. I do feel if you are resonating as this queen, somebody abandoned you, walked away, left you out in the cold, and now they're facing some karma. They're feeling cursed. They're feeling hexed. And maybe they've been waiting for this moment for you to close out a cycle after you've gone through some type of healing and releasing. And maybe they've always thought in the back of their head, someday, somewhere in another time, we could be together. I think there's a lot of confusion. So a decision doesn't need to be made today. I think there's a lot of unclear energies. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's still a lot of grief and loss behind the scenes. And so maybe this new beginning is rooted out of lust, but I do feel somebody's coming in with some truth and some honest intentions. Maybe somebody that abandoned you, and this is cause and effect. And so this is cause and effect for like the last 14 to 16 years. I feel something is reaching a major completion. So what is this Eight of Earth all about? Let's clarify the Eight of Earth, and let's use a different deck here. Chariot, something about maybe a new investment, planting a seed around the Cancer new moon in between the portals for maybe going back to school or some new work. Let's clarify that. Oh, I do feel, yes, like a new adventure with the Tree of Life. So I think there's just going to be like a new creative adventure coming in. And I do feel there with that High Priestess in reverse. I think this is like a confession. Somebody wishes they could go back and have a redo. That's really what it's feeling like here. Maybe a Cancer, maybe a Pisces. I just think right now we got to hold that faith, hold the vision, hold the light, hold the faith. Let's get one last closing message here from Spirit. What else do you got on this? Release the negative mindset, I just heard. So this is a very auspicious time. The outcome is going to bring happiness and prosperity. So just stop overthinking. Release the obsessive patterns. Release them. Try a different approach. I do believe there is a chance for a do-over here, whatever that means for you in your own personal journey. I know I really don't want the past back. Would I like to make peace with it and have that closure come full circle? Great, sure. But I don't want anybody from my past back. And so what would you do differently if there was a redo? Maybe it's just a redo in love after you've cleared out a lot of toxic patterns. There might be a past person coming back, wanting to try again. It's up to you if you want to go in a new direction. Do you want to start over? I do think there's truth here, but I think you're going to need to take time to rest. You're going to need to take time before you actually make a decision. But I do feel there is an offer coming here, but I do feel this person, maybe in the past, there was some really karmic circumstances. And maybe you are being tested to remain in high vibration. Shine bright. Keep shining bright. Whoever I'm talking to, you got to keep shining bright. I think there's a test here, and you need to trust your intuition, because your intuition is always going to lead you in the right direction. And that's what I've got, guys. I really hope this resonated. I hope this helped. If you would like to book a personal or a soulmate reading with me, check out the description box below, guys. And I do look forward to seeing you all again next time. Thank you.